So yesterday we made some badge charms and we did it with like a tassel on the end or something that has a loop. So, but what if you didn't want to do that? What if you wanted to have a bead on the end? So these are two different ways depending on what you like. If you like the strings to be down or if you don't. So here, two different ways that you can do it. Now this one has a bigger clip because it's going to be a backpack pull for my grandson. And, you know, this one is for someone for their badge. So it's got the smaller pull on it. So, but just stay tuned and we will make this, you know, both ways. But this will be how you can make them if you want a bead on the end. All right, so we are going to now make our beads. So I'm making a backpack pull and then I'm making a bead charm for a badge. And we're gonna do it this time instead of with a tassel or something with a loop, we're gonna do it with a bead on the end of it. So in order to do it this way, we're going to do it two different ways. Now, first, I'm going to use this thinner string. And for this one, what we're going to do is the opposite of what we did yesterday. So we're going to take our string, double it, but then we are going to put our bottom bead on first, the two strings going through it to where the loop is at the bottom. So this time we want the loop at the bottom. And then we're going to take the loop and we're going to tie a whole bunch of knots, and you want them tight together. So the goal is you want a good knot that you can pull up inside the bead, but it's not going to go completely through the bead. All right. So then once you do that, you're going to pull your string up into the bead. So then you've got two pieces of string sticking out the bottom bead. So I'm using 3 beads and a clip for this one, besides this bottom bead. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a red bead, and it's got to go through both pieces of string. So forgive me, I had a little bit of a challenge threading these through because these beads have really small holes in them. And like my eyesight with the small stuff is just not the best anymore. So, but both strings through the red. And then I'm going to go both strings through the blue. And then open the strings up, so pull them apart. So then it's going to be one string is going to go through the next red bead. And then it's going to go up and loop around the clip. And then once it loops around the clip, it's going to go back up through that red bead. And then you're going to have 2 tails in the middle of your piece. So then you take those 2 tails, fold them over each other like you were tying your shoes, and then you pull it really nice and tight. And then from there, you're going to do your surgeon's knot, pull it tight, and then knot it again, clip it off, and then tuck your knot up inside one of your bead. Now, the reason why we're doing this instead of just wrapping it the loop around the clip, putting our beads on, and then tying it at the bottom and pulling the bead down is because if we did it that way, we would have a gap between our clip and our beads, because that knot has to go up inside the bead, so then it's going to be a little bit loose. So doing it this way gives you a nice taut piece with no gaps in it. Now, additionally, I like to take some super glue, and I'm not going to do it here, but I will be doing it. I like to take a little super glue and I put it up in the bottom portion of that bottom bead, and I kind of bend bend the top over and put it in the top of it also. And I do that because over time these silicone beads can stretch out, and you don't want your knot, you don't want it to loosen up and your knot to pull through. So I do that because it kind of closes everything up. And then yeah, so I'm just sticking my knot up in there now. These are super quick and easy. This one has a small clip on it because again, it is for a badge. And now the next one will have a bigger clip on it because it's for a backpack. So yeah, so super cute. Now for our next one, we're gonna do it with the tail out. So I'm using this thicker string. Now, depending on how big the holes are in your beads, if you've got beads with bigger holes, then that's when you want to use like a thin ribbon or something like that. And the reason for it is you want to be able to end your project with only one nice knot at the bottom. You don't want a whole bunch of knots in order to keep it from going through, because then it looks sort of weird. You want one good knot. So I'm using this thicker, it's like a straw string that I'm using. So on this one, we're gonna do it just like yesterday. We take our string, fold it in half, and then our loop is gonna go up through the little hook on our clip. And then we put the two legs of the string through the hoop, pull it down nice and tight. So then our string is attached to our clip and we got two pieces of string hanging down. So now on this one, super easy. We just put our beads on, but we put all of the beads through both of the strings. And then when we get to the end of it, we're gonna pull our strings apart, loop it around each other like you were tying your shoes, and then pull that super nice and tight. And then we're going to tie our knot. What I like to do is I make a little loop up against the bead, take my ends, wrap it around, and then pull it through the loop nice and tight. And that makes a really pretty, knot on the end of it. And then from there, you just cut your legs however short you want them to be, and you're all done, and it comes out super nice. So here they are. And two different ways to do them if you want to have beads on the end instead of like a tassel or something like that. And then, like I said, I personally like to just go in there and stick a little super glue in there. Just, because these rubber beads over time, like they can stretch and your knot could easily pull through. So I just like to put a little super glue, and I even put a little super glue kind of down in this one too. I'll bend it forward and stick a little super glue down in there too. Just to, make it a little bit more secure. And then here's the one with the tied end. So it's really just about whatever way you prefer.